All right, everybody. Hazelnuts. We're going to do a short little presentation on the benefits of hazelnuts and why they're a good, healthy option that you may not automatically think of. So, kind of starting off, a little bit of general information. So hazelnuts are also known as filberts. They think that this comes from Catholicism, which is thought to be responsible for the nickname. The filbert translates or comes from the idea that when you split a hazelnut, that will say that you find or you have the shell of it resembles kind of a beard, which you'll see in some of the pictures coming up. But so commonly they're known as hazelnuts or filberts, but you may also see them called cob nuts or just simply hazels. The areas of production, mainly in Europe, we're looking at Spain and Italy, but France also does some hazelnut production. In the United States, the state of Oregon pretty much does all of it. 98% of the domestic production comes from the state of Oregon. And in the Middle East, Turkey is one of the main countries in that grows hazelnut production pretty quickly. So, if you're looking to obtain or go buy hazelnuts or get them shipped or whatever, realize that those are pretty much the states and countries that is your best bet. So the nutritional properties. I love this diagram here because it really shows that it has like 20 whole kernels. That's a much simpler way for us to think of it if we don't have a scale or anything. So we'll say 20 hazelnuts. And here are the values, right? So pretty high caloric, which is a good thing. Sometimes high caloric foods get a bad rap just simply because it's usually the fast foods or the processed foods that are high caloric. But the thing is, they're two different entities. A high caloric, fast food cheeseburger it has negative effects because of the fact that it lacks nutrition. It lacks all of the other things, like I've seen here. Whereas this 20 hazelnuts giving you 176 calories is a phenomenal nutritional output for athletes and people who are eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, because it helps kind of keep you satiated, which is the feeling of full. And it has other properties which you'll see. So just real quickly running down them, we got 176 overall calories. You've got your 17 grams of fat. You got basically 4 grams protein, 4 grams carb, and then those are the main three. And then we look at it contains fiber, it has vitamin E, it has thiamine, the magnesium, the manganese, and the copper are all there. You look at your manganese, and it's 87% of the recommended dietary index. So that's pretty big. Health benefits, are pretty vast, but these are the main ones. They're heart healthy, almost secondary heart healthy because of the cholesterol effect that it has. It helps lower high cholesterol levels, which is obviously a good thing. By doing that, you help your arterial walls and you prevent arteriosclerosis and some of the things that come with that, like strokes and seizures and whatnot. The decreased risk of cancer. This is a pretty important one, obviously, but the way it does that is through the antioxidant effect. Antioxidants help remove free radicals and damaged cells from the body. And by doing that, they've kind of found that hazelnuts, walnuts, and actually pistachio nuts contain high levels of this proanthocyanidins, which is just a specific antioxidant that they found works really well in some of the research. And then digestive health. Some of the ways it helps is with help controlling blood sugar. So this is an important one for like endurance athletes, any athlete that may be diabetic, type 1, type 2, anything like that. This is really good to help kind of leave those even keel blood sugar levels so you're not getting the big spikes in insulin or glucose. And then they're easy to incorporate into the diet because of what you can do with them. And what you can do with them is you can roast them, you can eat them raw. They have a little bit of a sweet taste naturally, which is kind of pleasing to the palate, unlike some other nuts that may be good for you. So roasting them after you process them from the shell, you could roast them and easily incorporate them into like a stir fry or something of that nature. Once you roast them, you could make a crumble and put them on a salad, and then ground. Now, when they say ground in a industrial or in a commercial setting, they make a lot of spreads out of like a hazelnut spread would be more like a Nutella, which many of you are familiar with. So that's a pretty famous one. So here's a demonstration of me processing some hazelnuts. There's no sound to this, but realize I was trying to hold the camera and the hammer in the other hand, and then separate it from the shell. This is easier said than done, but you could see the setup there. I have a container for the refined nut once it's out of the shell, a pile of shells, and then to the right of the camera is the hammer, and then a bag of whole hazelnuts that need to be processed. So, closing remarks. I say be creative, right? I mean, like I said before, once you get them out of the shell, you can do anything you want with them. If you want them to last for a long time, and like hiking trips or camping trips or anything like that, or even just for a food that you can kind of process out and not have to worry about it spoiling. That's a really good one. And even if you obtain a bunch of hazelnuts, they'll last a really long time in the shell. So you could even just kind of put them in a box, put them in the back of a cabinet, something like that. And then as you need them, you could process them out, which is really neat and kind of rewarding. The next thing up is don't fear fats. Too many times people think of saturated fats or polysaturated fats, the fast food type fat, or where they confuse nutritional fat with adipose, like skin kind of anatomical fat, which are not the same thing. Easily confused, and I understand that, but don't fear nutritional fat. If it's an unsaturated fat, if it's a cold water fish, a nut, something of that nature, they're packed full of really important nutrients that as you can see, this is just a hazelnut. We could go on and on with walnuts and pistachios, and all the tunas, the salmons, the trout, things of that nature. So realize that the nutritional fat and adipose fat are two completely different things. And then I say educate your plate. That's just a kind of rhyme that I came up with. It basically means make educated decisions, informed decisions when you're creating your next meal, or even putting on your plate. Make sure your plate has greens. Make sure it has browns. The more color in it, usually the more nutrition. So you try and avoid the really just plain white plate. Just really processed, refined grains and things like that. So be creative, don't fear fats, and educate your plate. And if you guys enjoy these videos on nutrition and stuff like that, I'll keep making them. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment, either saying great job, or stick to some more physical activity ones and things like that. So, all right, appreciate it, guys. Take care.